If you like to make your NFL games a little bit more interesting, you've come to the right place. It's the Even Money Podcast with Ross Tucker and Steve Fezzik.
Yeah, Vegas, baby, Vegas. It is the Even Money Podcast, the show that's so nice. We do it twice every single week. And yes, it's considered the number one NFL betting podcast out there because we win a lot. Over 60 units we are up. In fact, I got to check in. Is it over 70? Am I shortchanging us? Yes. In fact, it is up to 75 units for the season, which is amazing. I'm up 57.9 units. Steve is up 17.5 units. Basically, you've come to the right place. Here's what we do on Thursdays. Tuesday, we already gave you our bets for the week against the spread, totals, as well as teasers. We don't have any of those this week. You can always go back and listen or watch on your podcast app or youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. Today, we're going to talk about the line movement first. And guess what? There is some, and it's significant, and it's to my favor, which is good. Then we will get to Dr. David Chow for the latest injury news, which is always helpful. Then we'll review how Steve did in his props and parlays last week and get to my props and parlays, if I have any, and certainly Steve's props and parlays this week as well. Encourage you to check out Steve Fezzik, the legend on social media, at Fezzik Sports. I'm at Ross Tucker NFL. We are at Ross Tucker Pod. You know, I don't say this about every one of my other shows. You should absolutely subscribe and turn the notifications on so you know immediately when it's posted. That is money. That is value for each and every one of you. Love when you rate and review it as well. Even if you just rate and review the show and send that to me, Ross at rosstucker.com, we will get to some of your email questions immediately because you did a little something for us. Steve, only 2 games. The AFC Championship, that line has changed a point. It was, New England was laying 5.5. I took the Broncos for 1 unit. New England now laying 4.5. Totals 42.5. What do you think's going on here?
I think that the Sharps have identified that home dog as having value. Denver has been historically really good as a home dog. By the way, if you recall, you didn't play the teaser, but I did play a non-Wong teaser on Tuesday when it was 5.5. I took Denver up to plus 11.5 and went ahead and played them with the Rams. So I did have a teaser, but you're correct. You did not have one. And also we were on that first half plus 3.5, which is, it's getting expensive. There's a lot more VIG still like it. I think it's going to be a very competitive game.
Is that still the number?
Yeah, plus 3.5, but minus 125 now.
Got it. Plus 3.5 at minus 125 for the plus 3.5 first half. I really like that one. All right. Then the NFC, the Rams are still getting 2.5. Total 46.5. Did that change at all, Steve, or is that what it was?
I've seen 47s, but I'm not sure what DraftKings likes to oftentimes deal not on the integer number, so there's a result. So I think they've been 46.5 the whole time.
Got it. Okay. It's interesting just looking at DraftKings right now. The Super Bowl winner odds right now, Steve, the Seahawks are plus 145, Rams plus 230, Patriots plus 250, and the Broncos are plus 1,100. So heavy underdog. Any of those numbers intrigue you?
Not at all. And by the way, you know, what a bummer if you bet on Denver before the playoffs started, right? Then they win a game, and now their odds have gotten a lot longer without their quarterback. We did get ahead of it during the season. We talked about how the NFC had value against the AFC, played the money line there. Wowza, if we can somehow get Denver in the Super Bowl, we could be staring at a spread of what? Minus 7.5, minus 7. Higher, even higher. It might be 8.
Wow. All right, I want to get to your props and parlays after we talk to our guy, Dr. David Chow, to get all the latest injury news. Love talking with Dr. Chow, who is presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. He comes to us via sixscore.com. You know that. Most of you have been listening or watching youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL to the great Dr. David Chow all season long. Just a treasure trove of health and injury information that's been very helpful and absolutely integral to the massive success that we've had this season. Highly encourage you to follow him on social media at ProFootballDoc. And we've been talking about it every week. I mean, to be able to just use the code Ross to get their 3-star guaranteed pick of the week. And if it doesn't win, they refund you your weekly subscription. Seems like a pretty darn good deal. They're up 30 units on their spread picks this week, winning at 82% on the guaranteed picks, thanks to their injury-based edge. SICscore.com, that's sixscore.com. Use the code Ross. Let's start, Dr. Chow, with the AFC Championship game. Some very interesting notes here. The biggest one, obviously, being Bo Nix. That kind of came out of nowhere after the game.
Yeah, no question. And thanks for the shout out on the numbers. Look, it does make sense. We have more plays and more mismatches in the wild card round than the divisional round, and less now in the conference championship. Because A, there's less games, but B, the unhealthier teams get eliminated. See San Francisco 49ers, et cetera, and others. The Bo Nix injury, as you pointed out, absolutely surprised me. I did not see it in real time, to be fair. And look, he continued to play. On the kneel down, he struggled to get up a little bit. He did all his post-game stuff on the field. He limped a little bit. The only thing you noticed was, winning quarterbacks usually jog or run off the field when they're done, and he walked off the field. That probably was the telltale sign there. But what's really unusual is how Sean Payton really got in front of the news by coming back out and not only being very definitive that he's out for the season, even giving the surgery date of Tuesday. And, my guy Philip Rivers texted me, you sure he's not going to play and return? That's why they're doing surgery. I said, look, if he had a chance to return to play in the Super Bowl, they would have flown him out and done surgery on Sunday. He does not have a chance to play, and that's been very clear now. But I think Sean Payton was just getting in front of the news. He's a veteran head coach, and he's a master manipulator. And we'll talk about how he might be manipulating things now as we talk about their Bronco injuries.
So let me just ask you this, though. We watched the guy finish the game, okay? There's no way they could brace it up, tape it up, all those things, and he could try to go with it. I always think that's interesting when you watch a guy finish a game, and I don't know how many plays there were after that, but there were some plays after that.
There were a total of 2 plays for Bo Nix after that. He had a hitch as he went back to the huddle. He threw the longish pass that got the pass interference. And then there was the kneel down. And on the kneel down, when he got up, he did struggle a little bit off balance. But Ross, I would imagine in your career, you finished a game before where all of a sudden the injury was worse than it was thought, in the sense that adrenaline, or you didn't know what you were playing through, so to speak. And obviously, as we've talked about, the position of quarterback is a little bit different. It's not like he was a DB for 2 more plays or an edge rusher or a running back, right? I mean, limited in what he did as a quarterback. But still, I got to put him up there in the Matt Stafford, Josh Allen, Phillip Rivers Tough Guy Awards, right? I mean, that's pretty legendary to shrug it off and try and finish even for 2 plays.
What about the Broncos? They got some guys designated to return from IR. I know a lot of people are talking about J.K. Dobbins. I guess the one that jumped out to me is Wattenberg, the center, because Forsyth got hurt last week. Wattenberg's the guy they like at center. They gave him a contract extension. They designated him to return. I thought he was done for the year.
We thought he was done for the year too, and now I think he's back out of necessity, right? And his practice window is open. Look, you don't get a lot of video of practice. because teams are very secretive and you only get the warm-up portion. And it was interesting to me in the warm-up portion, all of Denver media was saying he looked good. He moved well in the portion open to media in warm-up. But what limited video that was put on social media of that walkthrough portion, warm-up portion, he was heavily strapped and taped on his left shoulder, and he didn't really use his arm that much. It was interesting to me that he was listed as full practice. And there's a lot of discretion in how players are listed.
So what does that mean? Do you think he's playing or not?
I think he's going to play because they need him, because he's probably the healthier and better option than Forsythe. However, full practice. I mean, how many times do you see a guy have a full practice on the first day that they're eligible to come off injured reserve? That really doesn't happen very often. And so I think that it's the time of year you're playing to get to the Super Bowl. You know, everyone wants to play. I mean, not to keep going back to Phillip Rivers, he played on a torn ACL 6 days after an E-scope because it was the AFC Championship game. So it's that time of year, but I don't think Wattenberg will be anywhere near 100%.
What about any other Broncos guys? They had the receivers go down. Anything else notable for Denver?
Yes. Pat Bryant, I am very surprised that he was limited practice today, yesterday. I would be surprised and color me shocked if he plays in the game. Just like Nico Collins, we talked about last week, it wasn't the 6-day timeline. Here, there's a full 7-day timeline. It's his second concussion of the season for Pat Bryant. It would almost be unheard of for him to get cleared. I don't care that he had a limited practice today or yesterday. Tony Franklin was also said to be limited in practice, but it was interesting. Media said, we saw him at practice. We didn't see him do anything in the early part. We thought he wasn't going to practice, but then the practice report came out and he was limited, which means one play, one something. He's a speedster with a hamstring. We think both Pat Bryant and Tony Franklin aren't going to play. So follow along with me here. I respect the heck out of all NFL head coaches, including and especially Sean Payton. But it's not a secret. Coach speak is real, right? I mean, spin and to protect their team. If I were a fan of the Broncos, I would want Sean Payton to do coach speak. I think there's some coach speak and injury report speak happening here. We saw it with John Harbaugh and the Ravens. We talked about that. I don't believe Pat Bryant is playing, but yet he got limited practice in. I don't think Tony Franklin is playing, yet it's limited practice in. I'm not sure J.K. Dobbins is playing or effective, yet everyone says, oh, he looks good and limited practice in. Wattenberg, I'm surprised at full practice for him first day off. I think there's some gamesmanship potentially going on here. I'm not calling Sean Payton or the Broncos liars. It's every team in the league does it. And that's kind of what we do at Sports Injury Central, try and see through the gamesmanship. Wattenberg, less than 100%. Dobbins, iffy to play, and certainly not full go. And no Pat Bryant, and we doubt Tony Franklin.
And obviously, the only one really notable for the Patriots is Carlton Davis, who I'm kind of expecting back.
I agree with you. That one I believe. So people would say, well, what's the difference? Carlton Davis has a limited practice. You're saying he's going to play, and we are saying he's going to play and clear. He's got to get to an FP before Friday or by Friday and then clear before getting on the plane. I do think he will clear to play, but it's also his first concussion of the season. That's the fundamental difference.
Let's talk Seahawks. The big one for them is the torn ACL for Charbonnet. That's a bummer. Did you notice anything with Darnold, Dr. Chow?
Well, I noticed that either he gained a few LBs or he's wearing that extra flak jacket rib protection, right? And oblique is basically attachment muscles to the flank, to the ribs, etc. And the interesting thing there was pre-game, I even saw the line dip down to 6.5 because, oh my gosh, Sam Darnold's not throwing the ball ahead of 90 minutes. Drew Lock's on the field. Jalen Milroe's on the field. No Sam Darnold. My response to that is, that cements the fact that Darnold is playing, because there's no way in the world that Darnold is made inactive at 90 minutes without trying to play and throw before 90 minutes to give it a go to see if he could thread the needle to play. The fact that he wasn't out there indicated to me confidence that he could play, and there was no reason to warm up early, etc. Let the Toradol or whatever kick in, etc. Yes, he's going to be not full this week, but I don't see it being much of an issue in the game. In the end, if the Seahawks have to rely on Sam Darnold, throwing 100% velocity into tight windows, that's a dangerous formula anyways.
Lastly, Charles Cross, left tackle for Seattle. What's going on there?
Oh, that's the biggest concern here for that game. Charles Cross had a number of injuries, hamstring, knee, returned to play, now left with a foot ankle injury. And all three left tackle 1, 2, and 3 did not practice on Wednesday. That is a big concern to watch, and we need to let that play out a little bit. We've looked at video. It's not definitive one way or the other. We're going to have to watch practice reports and pregame video from Seahawks beat reporters. That one is the big question mark so far right now.
Check him out on social media. As always, at Pro Football Doc, at Six Score, and of course, go to sixscore.com. They're killing it almost as much as we are. Use that code Ross. Thank you, Dr. Chow.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. Got to pay some bills real quick. Managing your money doesn't have to be a struggle this year. Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool designed to make your life easier. We all are trying to be better with our expenses in 2026. Let Monarch help you. You get 50% off your subscription with the code EVEN. Look, do a financial reset here in the new year. And how about building some goals that actually stick? This new year, achieve your financial goals for good. Monarch is the all-in-one tool that makes proactive money management simple all year long. Use the code EVEN at monarch.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com using that glorious code EVEN. All right, dudes, what does your morning routine look like right now? How about upgrading it? How about getting some easy wins? How about feeling organized? How about getting some more energy? How about getting some awesome habits? All of those things can happen with Black Edition RTD and Daily Greens RTD, which is awesome. It's Black Edition RTD means ready to drink, which is incredible. 35 grams of protein, 27 essential vitamins and minerals. They have a Daily Greens ready to drink as well. 42 vitamins, minerals, superfoods, only 25 calories. And they've got a great deal. Limited time offer. Grab Huel today with my exclusive offer of 15% off online with my code EVEN20 at Huel.com/even15. It's for new customers only. Thank you to Huel for partnering and supporting our show. All right, so Steve, last week, here's what we had. You and I both went in on a prop together. We talked about this a little bit on Tuesday's show. Colston Loveland over 4.5 catches. It was a best bet. It was our only prop best bet of the season so far. The guy had 4 catches on 9 targets before he got hurt. And then Cole Kmet had a couple catches after that. That was terribly unfortunate and unlucky. And then you won on your parlay. That was plus 650. Explain that again. We talked about it because you had the over on Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet, under on Darnold, Seahawks -7. But Charbonnet, because our sponsors DraftKings, fell under the early exit program.
Yeah, so this is unique to DraftKings. I don't think anyone else does it. That if you play a prop bet and your player goes down in the first half, as Charbonnet did, then that leg of your parlays gets voided, and the rest of it is still in action. So I believe when I say it gets voided, if it loses, it gets voided. And so it's really a free roll that you get on injuries. If one of your guys goes down in the first half, it doesn't count against you. What a great program by DraftKings.
Love it. Well, and that came in big. I think that's actually going to be a factor in the game. I think it hurts them that they don't have, both those guys, both those running backs, Charbonnet and Walker, although Walker's the more explosive of the two. What do you got for us this week, Steve? What tickles your fancy? Reminder, we always get a prop bet and a parlay from Steve every week. He does get graded on the props. He does not get graded on the parlays. What do you got?
So let's go New England, Denver. I'm going to go special teams. I'm going punts, Ross. Over 7.5 punts. And here's my handicap. I really think both teams are looking at this game and protect the ball, take care of the ball, don't make a big mistake is going to be the theme. And because of that, I also think ball control, field position. So if they get a 4th and 1 from midfield, this is a game you might see the punt instead of them going for it, like all the other NFL teams are going. The total's only 42.5. I definitely think we can get to 8 punts, so over 7.5.
Okay, interesting. That also has to be a little bit Stidham, right? No, not believing in Stidham.
Oh, 100%. So what would you do if you were a coach? And also, even if you have a 3rd and 14, right? Run a screen, run a draw, and punt the ball. Why open yourself up to a disastrous play?
All right. Anything else?
Yeah, let's go to Rams Seahawks. I'm going to the well again. It worked well last week. I'm going to go ahead and parlay Seattle -2.5. I'm going to take Walker over 19.5 carries, and I'm going to take Darnold under for his pass yards, under 234.5. So that pays plus 370. That's my parlay. I don't personally bet parlays. I know you guys love them, but I am going to play individual props. I'm going to play Walker over the 19.5, and I'm going to play the Darnold under 234.5, where I really think there's going to be a whole lot of running by Walker in this game. That's my handicap.
I like the under on Darnold's passing yards, although the Rams secondary struggled a little bit. What would Walker's number have been, Steve, if Charbonnet was healthy? I wonder what Walker's number was in previous games. Do you happen to know?
Sure. Well, we played it last week. So Walker was 58.5 and Charbonnet was 48.5.
No, how many carries?
Oh, okay. So I believe he would have been 4 yards per carry on it. So I would expect he'd be at 14 or 15. So it's certainly, they're juicing the number up big time, but I think it's inadequate based upon, I think the backup's going to get just a token, 3 carries instead of Charbonnet would have gotten 11 or 12, right?
So, okay. So then you got, that's interesting. I'm looking at the rushing props for him. I'm curious how many yards. Oh, wait, it's at 90? Is his prop?
That's a big number, yes.
That's at plus 107. Minus 111 is 86 plus.
Yeah, and I don't want to go over the 86 because I'm really handicapping usage much more than I am the actual, what plays out in the game. But obviously, I would lean over the 86.5 as well.
Got it. All right, let's get to some email questions because we always have some good ones from our terrific, terrific listeners. This one comes from Matt Alfera. Love the show. Listen to all of them. DraftKings has teaser odds minus 135 and pays out accordingly. 74.07 profit on a $100 bet. FanDuel offers teaser odds at minus 134, but pays out differently. 75.01 profit on a $100 bet when it should be 74.63. Is that normal practice by sports books? Should we be taking full advantage of that? This is one that's over my head, Steve. You got to explain to me what he's talking about.
Yeah, so I obviously, if you bet 100 and you divide by 1 point, if you're laying minus 134, you should be able to divide by 1.34 or 1.35. Since DraftKings charges minus 135, you're going to get a smaller payout if you make the identical bet at DraftKings versus FanDuel. But we always encourage everyone, hey, get the very best odds that you can. So if DraftKings does a lot of things where they give you the very best odds, they don't give you the best odds on teasers. So shop around at other places. Always get the best number on all your wagers.
But why is he saying that FanDuel pays 75.01 when it should be 74.63? That's what I don't understand.
That's a great question. Bring that up with your local. It's interesting. It doesn't sound like a big deal. Cantor Gaming here in Vegas had like a rounding error in their algorithms, and they got fined millions of dollars for slightly underplaying paying parlays. So I would look into that if that's truly the case.
The other one is from Ryan, and he wants to know if we ever tease totals. He said he's been teasing over-unders and having success with them. What are your thoughts on parlaying 2 or 3 leg teaser bets with an over-under teaser, maybe adding that to some of the other ones that we have?
My pet peeve about the media, all the time on the Super Bowl, they want to play a teaser and they tease a total. Basic strategy, never tease totals. It's incorrect. Now, there's always exceptions to the rule. The one exception, I'll pull back the curtain. Every now and then a sports book, there's like a snowstorm that's suddenly forecast and they're doing a total at 43. And they leave it at 43, Ross, but they make the vig like under minus 145. All right? When the total drops to 40 everywhere else. That's the rare exception to the rule where I'll tease the 43 and I'll play an under 49 because I'm essentially getting 9 points on the 6-point teaser.
Already looking forward to breaking down our conference championship bets on next Tuesday's show. Make sure you're subscribed and those notifications are turned on. You can see all the bets we just went over, patreon.com/RT Media at the Tuckheads level. Good luck, everybody. Hope you guys win some money.
Thanks for tuning in to Even Money. Make sure to also check out the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.